Following a whistleblower's complaint about a phone call President Trump made with Ukraine's leader, congressional Democrats are upping demands for full disclosure and intensifying calls for impeachment. Here to talk about this is Travis County GOP Communications Director Andy Hogue and Glen Smith from Progress, Texas. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Now, Glenn, the complaint says President Trump pressured Ukraine's president to investigate Joe Biden and his son. If this is true, does the president deserve to be impeached for making that demand?
It is the kind of crime that America can't stand to have a president committing. It betrays our national security. It betrays everything the country stands for. He's basically, once again, apparently asking a foreign country to intervene in our election in a way that assists him. I don't believe that Congress can let this stand, and I think Republicans ought to join at first, at least to have full disclosure, including the whistleblower's memo, the transcript of the conversation the White House says it has. Let's look at the facts, but if all this is true, I don't believe we can let it stand, because what comes next?
Andy, the acting director of national intelligence has refused to share more information, citing presidential privilege. With what we do know, was the call between the two leaders lawful and appropriate or not?
Well, we don't know much. That's what it all boils down to. This is all hearsay at this point. We know about a whistleblower. Even Mr. Trump claims not to know who the whistleblower is. But let's back up a little bit. This isn't just the Trump story. This isn't just all eyes on President Trump. This goes back to the Crimean Peninsula situation in the Ukraine, where there was a prosecutor in the Ukraine, basically the Attorney General there was, he came to power, and Joe Biden basically said, we're going to remove $1 billion in foreign aid if he's not removed. And he got his way. Around that time, surprise, surprise, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, got on board with the board of a large energy company in the Ukraine and made $50,000 a year, $50,000 a month actually, just for being on the board. So yeah, there is something to look into, removing Trump from the situation, but we really don't know a lot about what happened in the first place.
Glenn, what are the risks to Democrats if they do proceed with impeachment? Is there any concern?
First, let me correct something.
Okay,
It was all the Western democracies wanted that corrupt prosecutor gone. It wasn't a Joe Biden thing. This is a distraction from the White House that's rather ridiculous. Next, about impeachment. Are there dangers for Democrats? I don't believe so. They're just law enforcement in this case. They're watching a bank be robbed in broad daylight. Do they stand there and let it be robbed without acting? I think that is not discharging their responsibilities to the country and to democracy. I don't think the political dangers are real in the first place. They need to move ahead and enforce the law, period.
Andy, same question. And also, do you see Republicans coming on board, at least for full disclosure? And the transcript of that call, so we know exactly what we're dealing with?
Well, I think at one level this transcends a political witch hunt. This shouldn't be that. I mean, it is a campaign year, and that's the shame about this all. It's going to be something that feeds the impeachment narrative, that feeds the 2020 election, and it ought not to be. It ought to be that the system looking into this. Now, whether or not this is a Joe Biden issue or a Donald Trump issue, the fact of the matter is the entrenched establishment has a lot to put a stake into Joe Biden with. They want to defend Joe Biden with all they got, and they're trying to make this a Donald Trump issue, and to me it looks like there's enough guilt to go around, and there is a lot to look into.
All right, we are out of time, but Andy, Glenn, thank you both for coming in and sharing your perspectives with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.